here on this rainy afternoon with my man Luke Wessman. Lost art of the gentleman, lost art of the gentle giant man. What's up, homie? How you doing?
Good morning, sir. Lost art of the gentleman is here
in the building. So I mean, we've known each other for a while, and we've spent a lot. We've had a lot of New York adventures together when you first moved here. You originally started out in San Diego, yeah?
Yeah, started tattooing in San Diego in a little town, Oceanside, California.
Okay.
About 40 minutes from downtown San Diego.
Okay. So what, in around 1999-ish?
Yeah, around 99 is when I started kind of really embracing the idea of tattooing people and not just receiving them.
Were you already messing around on your friends, or did you start with a shop initially?
I initially started at Dave Gibson's Lucky's Tattoo Parlor, the original.
That's a famous old location.
Yeah, it was real special.
Yeah, I love that old Dave Gibson flash, and he was always such a cool guy. I remember in the early days, one of my earliest memories of him was some fucking idiot with just full-on facial tattoos, like the kind where it's just like a cover up over cover up on his face, was trying to talk to Dave Gibson, and he's like, man, we cannot do business together. We got nothing to talk about. And I just thought it was so funny because everybody else was trying to be so accepting of everything at that time, and he was just like, nah, man, this is not why I like tattoos.
Yeah,
you're like, this is not my thing. A little bit closer to the mic. And I've always appreciated that, like, where it's like, what I like about tattooing couldn't be totally different. Like, it's like not like we don't have. Don't assume we have something in common.
Well, yeah, it's like extremists in any any genre. Like, an extremist in tattooing isn't necessarily better than like an extremist in a religion or.
Yeah, if you got a fucking tribal on your face after you saw Tyson do it, we think about tattooing totally differently.
Yeah,
it's a completely different fucking reason why we're into it.
We're not in the same genre
at all. I mean, we're fucking poking holes in people, and that's it. So the tattoo scene in San Diego at that time, I don't know that area very well, but I'm super familiar with Avalon and all the older existing shops there. And we're at Dave Gibson's. What was the clientele like mostly?
At Dave's, the clientele. I mean, he had a really good, almost kind of cool car culture rockabilly following.
Yeah. Right.
And also it was on 7th Avenue, which was like the most popular drug dealing street in downtown San Diego.
That always works well for tattoo shops.
And then next to us was a liquor store,
okay,
which was perfect for the last minute panhandlers to get their their beer or alcohol for the day. So we had this just nonstop show.
Well, fucking California, man. Like I'm so jealous of I miss the weather out there so bad. Just being able to. In the sense that I love New York and I love having the different seasons, but when it's extreme, it just really, for a city like New York that is known for being, so much production and so much has to happen here, the weather really throws a monkey wrench in it so often. You can't, like in the middle of winter, it's like I'm ready for the sun to come back just so I can get shit done that I was trying to get done while the streets were blocked off and everything. So yeah, I really miss that shit.
Yeah, I would say the element of weather is not even in your mind when you're in California. No. You can just do whatever you want every day.
There's never like I gotta, because today if I want to ride my bike into work every day, I gotta look at make sure I don't get caught in the rain. Like no matter how it looks when you leave the house, you could get to work and it's fucking shit.
Hey, can you hold on a minute? I'm trying to get this Instagram off, man.
We'll take care of it.
I'm trying to Instagram us real quick.
Yeah, I know.
Is there an Instagram for the radios or just a hashtag?
But it's going to be. I just haven't put anything on it yet. It's invisible_radio.
It's an invisible site so far. It's an invisible
totally,
account.
Yeah, it's totally invisible_radio. I have that thing. I gotta just put a picture up on it.
All right, good.
An invisible sun. That's me, which is easy to get off. So then how long did you work? Tell me some of the highlights about working in San Diego at that time when you're getting into it.
I mean, my story goes all over the place. I mean, I started in Oceanside getting tattooed in my friend Jason Bett's apartment, and in that apartment was awesome. He had like things from the whole neighborhood. You know, he had bikes and fishing poles and surfboards. Right. It was like he was the first tattooer around our area that everybody knew. So everybody would just give him stuff, trade, barter, get tattooed. And I think I might have paid $60 or $70 for my first tat. It was my last name across my back. It was $10 a letter, Old English, kind of the same you'd get at the indoor swap meet if you're getting little letters for your shirt, Old English.
Yeah, the iron-on jammers.
So started really getting into tattooing as a young kid. I was 16 when I got my first one. Had my girlfriend there holding my hand. And,
tough guy.
And yeah. I was a skinny kid, man. I was like 160-pound, 6-foot guy. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so got tattooed there. Really got into tattooing just from a collector perspective, and loved the street side of it. And then when a shop opened up in Oceanside, it was banned for years.
Okay.
Jason got a job there, so I started hanging out there.
Awesome.
And going there weekly with my paycheck, you know, and getting a little tat here and there, and just really filling up and collecting. And then got into actual real tattooing and started being aware of the different styles and you know guys that did traditional,
looking
guys
at all the magazines and everything, and seeing all the stuff at that time.
Seeing past the just neighborhood stuff.
Yeah.
And then then I met another guy in there, this guy Milford Barnes. He actually was a really great traditional tattooer, and it was the first time I seen traditional tattoos, because all I seen was just kind of neighborhoody garage stuff.
And also like there's that weird like default just kind of tattoo style location, like you know what I mean, where it's not traditional, but it's like in between traditional and kind of realistic.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just I don't even know what to call it, but yeah, that's kind of like neighborhood style, I guess.
It was the art that was going on there, where the tattooers were trying to figure out art.
Right. Yeah. Well, you know, 99. If it's a new city, that was still, you know, people still didn't have access to so much internet and being able to instantaneously see stuff. So then, you know, you what was your like, where did you want to take tattooing? Like, what was the bigger picture for you when you first got into it, or were you just happy to not be committing crime?
Well, me, I was basically supporting myself, living with my best friend and his mom, and that's Brian Talbert. You know him,
of course.
And he, you know, I call him my brother now just because we've been through so much together, and you know, him and his mom basically adopted me when I was a young kid.
Okay.
I was really just concerned with making a living because I was supporting myself, so I didn't get into tattooing as like a passion.
Right.
I come from like a creative family. You know, my parents were kind of hippies, and there was a lot of art influence in my growing up, in my early childhood. So I loved and appreciated art, and I was just concerned with making a living. Like when my friend asked me, "Hey, you want to learn how to tattoo?" It wasn't like, "Oh yeah, you know, I got my sketchbook and I'm so passionate about tattoos and I want to make art on people's skin,
blow up the world."
Yeah, I was just like, "Can I make a living?
I can do this.
I love this culture. I respect it. I'm growing up getting tattooed, and you know, surf skate California culture was like my peers had tattoos, and the gangsters in the neighborhood had tattoos, and the people.
It's a universal. Yeah, it's like the kind of like it trumps everything, because to even like back in the day when like two fucking knuckleheads from different cultures would run into each other, they would like, "Oh man, like let me check that out."
Yeah, would you
check that out? You know, they could be like cholos or bikers or like surf Nazis or whatever, and they'd be like, "Yo, let me check that shit out."
I feel like early on, everybody asked me where I did time.
Yeah,
like that was the groundbreaking. Like, "Hey, where'd you do time, Holmes?" Like,
and it was interesting when that era ended, because like when I first started tattooing, also, you know, I'd be on the bus or something in San Francisco, and the dude would be like asking me where I did time. And I'm like, I didn't even, you know, I purposely got, because all my fucking cousins and shit are all independent. So I was like, I want to get tattoos that don't look like that. But it was still, if you have tattoos, it's just an assumption. You know, it's weird. Also, with what you're talking about before, with like the food, like the appliances and stuff, receiving them for tattoos.
Oh yeah, the pawn shop.
I think the last thing I got was like a blender. Like that was, and then that was the end of that era. It was like because you get these guys who would come by all the time, and they just want just one more leaf, or they need like one more flower or one more leaf, and so they'll start like, you know, going through their house. Like, I was more, because I've always been really interested I'm usually a pretty good judge of character, and I can tell if somebody is just desperate or if somebody's dangerous. You know, like so.
Yeah.
Usually those people are just dangerous. So I want to hear I want to hear what's up, and like you know, it's like fascinating that somebody needs to be tattooed. They've obviously got so many other pressing issues in their life, but they somehow need to get another couple fucking flowers or the zigzag man or something on their arm. So I was like, I was really interested to hear, you know, like, all right, well, what's going on here? Priorities for sure. Well, I mean, that's another thing with, I mean, I always bug out and like how people. I love tattoos. I love tattooing. You know, I'm not trying to downplay its importance or anything, but still, man, like so many people will choose that over food, or like, you know, when they start panicking, man, they start panicking if they can't, you know, if you can't get them in time, and like it's like, dude, you know, come on, man, this isn't something that you're gonna. It's a fucking total luxury item. It's like such a luxury item, but I think in a lot of cases that it's more like this is their escape. You know, we are cooler than the guys that he works with, and we're cooler than his wife. In a lot of cases, you know, like they're just like, fuck, man, I got a pass to be out of the house for like 4 hours this Wednesday, and especially if you call and talk to my wife and you got to tell her that you got to reschedule me, he's fucking pissed off, man. Yeah. He's like, fuck that. All right, so then, like, you worked in San Diego. You got your chops up working with Dave Gibson. Who else were you working with at that time?
You know, I just started working there right when one of my best friends in the world, Morgan Pennypacker, just had kind of quit there.
The legend.
And
we got something in store for him too. We got a couple guys going to come on and like retell some of his stories.
Oh man, he's amazing. And he's one of the best unknown tattooers. You know, I was talking with Tim Hendricks the other day, and we were saying that. It's not true, but we really feel like he'll be really appreciated when he's gone, more so than now, which is a shame.
Yeah. Well, I don't even want to. I hate thinking about that, but yes.
No, I mean, it's a long time from now. But,
yeah.
But it's just
later. Well, because then that's when people start telling the stories, and people aren't just being like, "Oh, this fucking Norwegian kid does this fancier rose," you know, or something, or like this guy does cleaner tattoos. It's like. Tattooing is like a bandit lifestyle. It's like a pirate lifestyle, you know. Yeah. So it's like when the stories are told, and this, you know, he definitely will shine brightly as, you know, like a very controversial and fucking amazing figure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I have some great stories about him. I'll tell you one if you want to hear one now.
Of course.
Okay. So we're tattooing in Miami, and. It's a busy day. It's Miami Ink busy shop, and so some guy comes in the shop, just kind of hooting and hollering about how the show's bullshit, and there's nobody from the show working at the shop,
which is bullshit.
He was just like, this is a fucking. He was drunk, you know.
Dude,
big guy.
I got to interview. The first day I went to Miami Ink, it was like I went down there to say, you know, we were fucking filming some bullshit, and then like, but this guy like just. This big ass black dude tries to walk in, and they're like, "No, we're filming." He goes, "Man, fuck HBO." I was like, "That is so awesome. Fuck HBO." And he goes, "Fuck Miami, fuck HBO." I was like, "This is amazing."
Yeah, Miami's so good for characters. Yeah. It's amazing. What a place.
Well, when you're really in that fishbowl when you're working on that platform, because people walk in. Because I remember one was like. Is that Ami? Like from the back? He's like, man, he's got fat.
Yeah, any bald guy that came and worked with us.
Oh, dude, totally. Everybody's like, right there. That's him right there. Check it out.
Yeah, so the guy comes in. He's drunk. He's super drunk. He's a big guy, a tall guy. Mm-hmm. So he's talking shit, and the shop's busy. You know, we're all working. Right. Morgan's in the very back station, just doing a tattoo, and the guy's just yelling at the front desk person. I forget who it was. It might have been Yoji hanging out there or something. And Nunez
He's like, are you Yoshi?
Is Yoshi here? Nunez comes in, and the dude harasses Nunez, jumps on him. You know, just obnoxious, drunk, huge guy. I mean, I think he was like 6'5" or something. You know, big guy.
He was big enough to where he was used to acting that way and not being checked immediately for it. Yeah.
So he came in with his girlfriend, and then Nunez just walked out. He was like, fuck this, I don't want to deal with this fool right now.
Right.
Walks down the street. Next thing
Hi, man, we're here.
Oh, shit, sorry.
Mine, Gabriel Kiko, he's a
Gotcha.
tattoo.
I'm still getting used to this shit. Tattoo. What the fuck? All right, there we go. It'll turn down all the other channels.
When all that.
You mean you're not an expert yet?
No.
On your first time?
Well, because I got a girlfriend now, so I can't fully commit my,
Yeah.
I can't 100% it like I usually do. I'm just learning this as I can. But yeah, okay, now go. So
Guy leaves. Oh no, Nunez leaves. The guy goes out chasing him after him, just talking shit to him, harassing him. At that point, Morgan sees what's going on and goes out and just to back up Chris. Not that Chris needs backup, man. Chris is a solid dude. I've seen, he's not afraid.
But you don't let your friend walk out and then a guy follows him and then you don't do anything.
Yeah, right.
I mean, fuck that.
Exactly. So they get to the corner. I didn't see it from this point, but they get to the corner, and I guess Morgan comes up and just confronts the guy. He's like, "You got a problem?" And Nunez was still just kind of backing away from the guy just because he didn't want to deal with the drunk guy, not because he was afraid of the guy. And Morgan gets in his face, looking up and going, "You got a problem, man?" And the guy, I don't know if he pushed him or just said some shit to him, and Morgan just dropped him cold like a noodle.
Right.
So
well, he's got that heavy hand on him.
So
go ahead.
So from then he went and went around the back of the shop, went into the shop, and started tattooing again. Put a hat on. I think he might have changed his shirt. So a little bit later, the big tall guy comes in with his wife, kind of still drunk, with a cop.
Oh, what a bitch!
And the cop comes.
What a bitch! Right? Cop calling bitch.
Yeah. So the cop comes in with them, and they're just like trying to figure out what's going on. They're looking around, and the thing was like, "Oh, he's not here. We don't see the guy who did it." Mm-hmm. And Morgan's just tattooing in the back. And the cop was ended up being really cool. He's like, "This guy's an asshole. We just were right here, so we had to come in." And he's like, "You guys are all good," and left. But it was just so cool. It was just a smooth, classic move.
For sure.
A good tattooer down for your friend.
Of course. And I remember that one video that the crew was all sitting around.
Are we incriminating him at all? Should we not tell these stories?
I don't know. It's your call. I'll call. We can call him after and ask him what. But no, this. Anyways.
Yeah.
No, but I remember that video that was going around on the internet. I don't think so, man. People talk about, there's like fights on YouTube and shit all the time, and like, whatever. It's like whatever. I'm unclear. That's why we got to have Shark Dog on.
We need Shark Dog.
Shark Dog to ask, tell us what's legal and what's not, to keep us on the right side of the law. So I remember the video that was going around of some fucking idiot that was just, harassing one of the girls from the Deuce.
Yeah. And
she came over to see. I mean, it must be comforting for a bunch of, women that are working by themselves at a bar to know that there's a bunch of guys in the tattoo shop next door.
Yeah.
That they can just be like, hey, can you, tell these guys to fucking chill out? Because Miami is, for when I first started going and doing little stints in Miami, I've never been to the place like where you could get in a fight so easily.
Yeah, Miami.
Everybody is on their 100% douche mode. Like just everything from like shitty Spanish people to like Black Bike Week or Black College Week people, Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial Day weekend.
Everybody's just acting like fucking like they've never been anywhere.
Yeah.
The whole
worse than Vegas.
Yes,
more dangerous than Vegas.
More dangerous than Vegas for sure. Where it's like everybody is either pissed because they can't get laid or they're fucking geeked out. Like I remember one time it was like me and we're just having a drink. And we were in Ted's, and I'm taking a piss, and then I hear this on the door, and I'm like, "What's up?" And he goes, "Hey man, I gotta talk to you." And I'm thinking I was like, "Dude, you don't need to talk to me about anything. I don't need to talk to you." And he goes, "No man, I really need to talk to you." And it seemed like it was like some creepy lurker.
Yeah, you going to the bathroom?
Bathroom lurker. I'm peeing in the bathroom stall. I thought it was like some creepy bathroom lurker. And I was like, I'm coming out. I'm going to kick that fucking door open. And if you're standing there, I'm going to knock you the fuck out. I was like, you better get the fuck... Because he's like, no, I really need to talk to you. And then so the door opens, and it was this dude... it was this fucking, businessman, wearing, fucking Club Monaco fucking outfit. And his eyes were fucking bright red, and his nose was bleeding. Oh. And he had a massive bag of cocaine. And he was like, if you don't take this from me, I'm going to kill myself. And so I grabbed it, and I just kind of fucking mushed him a little bit. I was like, you fucking idiot. And I was like, and I got really I was like, is this fun? Are you having, I was his brother or something, I was like, are you fucking
happy now, man?
You fucking happy now? Is this how you have fun, motherfucker? Yeah, it was fucking weird. It's creepy. And then I walked out, and I was like, dude, Chris, look, somebody gave me a fucking giant bag of Coke. And it was like, the dude was such a tweaker that he ripped the seal off. It was just like a bag. Like, it didn't even have the Ziploc thing on it anymore. And Chris was like, "Don't take that," and he fucking throws it on the ground and fucking steps on it.
Really?
He's like, "You don't know what the fuck, this fucking, that could be some fucking weird roofie you got." You know what I mean? Like, it could be anything. And fucking
They are
disgusting.
experts there with good
For sure.
So,
For sure.
Chris may have the knowledge.
So this thing was going around on our phones of like some guy from the Deuce talking shit to one of the bartenders, and she walks over to the tattoo shop. He follows her in there, and he's yelling, and she's like, "You just want to get out of here." And then everybody just kind of like stopped, posted up. We're waiting, and then Morgan goes, "Why don't you just get out of here, man?" The guy goes, "Fuck you." And then he goes, "Oh yeah," and he walks. He just takes one step. He steps over the stanchion, over the barrier, right into a knee in the balls, and then straight to the throat, picks the dude off the ground and carries him out with one hand. And I remember watching that on video. It was awesome because it was like this big crash, and then all of a sudden, the dude got even taller. Like, he got like 6 inch taller, and just kind of like, you just see his head over the t-shirt racks, just like walking out. And then all the other dudes, everybody else working there, just kind of like, they just they weren't like, whoa, 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 whoa. They just kind of slowly followed him out. Yeah, well,
yeah, there goes Morgan, throwing her asshole out.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. So yeah, so when did you start working in Miami? It was post TV show, right?
It was right when they were kind of filming, and I don't even know if it was actually on air yet. So It was like Morgan was doing, after they were filming, he was just kind of doing any walk-ins that kind of people that kind of caught wind that there was something cool going on there.
The calm before the storm.
So Morgan, being one of my great friends, I don't know if I've told you the story about how him and I really officially met, where I thought we were going to get in a fight.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, he came to Lucky's in San Diego on 7th Street. He came down to talk to Dave, who they had a big falling out. They were really close, and then Morgan quit or got fired. I forget exactly the details. Mm-hmm. Morgan came down drunk on a Sunday afternoon with a friend. I'm pretty sure he had a gun in his pocket.
Great idea.
I'm this young, skinny kid. I mean, I'm not afraid. I used to, get in fights all day long back then, and that was just kind of what we were doing. But he came in, and he's an intimidating guy. He's he's a strong man, pirate.
Well, he's from like another time.
Yeah.
Totally.
Exactly. So he comes down, and I'm this little skinny guy, just starting there, trying to be, that's home base for me now. I'm with Dave, and he comes in there really aggressively after Dave, like, "Dave, I just want to talk to you." And Dave was like, had a phone in his hand, was like, "I'm calling the cops, get the fuck out of here. I got nothing to say to you, get out of here," And I'm kind of like just trying to diplomatically be in the middle, and and Dave would almost like kind of move around me, talk some shit, and then kind of stand behind me again.
That's always fun. You're trying to diffuse a situation. Like, you try to diffuse a situation, and it starts to calm down because of what you did, and then the guy that you're protecting is like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, exactly. Just to hype it up again.
Yeah.
So I eventually kind of back Morgan outside, and I'm like, "Look, man, he did call the cops," and so Morgan's still hot, He'd like spit or threw gum at Dave or something, so it was like really hot inside. Like, there was a lot of fucking hostile energy going on.
Right. And
I'm like, "Man, just chill out. He called the cops. The cops are coming." And he's kind of like tough with me for a second, and then he's like, "Okay, I don't got any problems with you." He's like, I just want to talk to Dave,
I like you, kid.
Yeah. I'm like, "Look, man, you just don't want to do it right now because the fucking cops are going to come down here, and you're drunk. And if that's a gun in your pocket, that's going to be a bigger problem."
Yeah.
And his buddy kind of was like, "Come on, man, let's get out of here," And that was really the first time him and I had any interaction, because I've heard of him in the neighborhood, and he had a really strong classic tattoo style, so it was like, you got to get tattooed by this guy, all my peers were telling me. So that was our first interaction, and who knew him and I were going to be one, he was going to be one of my best friends in life, so it was kind of cool.
Things are crazy like that. Like, I've become super tight with people that we just passed each other previously. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we were just like, "Hey, what's up?" We'd spent time together but never really engaged each other. And then years later, you guys are like, I can't believe I ever didn't know this guy. Like, we could have had so much fun back then, So so then you went to, he coordinated the Miami situation for you.
Yeah. So Morgan was out there, and he's like, who do I want to work with out here? Because Ami was kind of giving him a little leeway to just get whoever he wanted out.
Okay.
And me coming from Lucky's, from Dave's shop, Ami. I'm told Ami worked there, guest spotted there, as well as Garver.
At Gibson's shop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like they did things there. They did weeks there. So Ami knew that back then it was like if you come from a shop that's in the circle, you're you got a leg up, you're in.
Yeah, and you that's why you become part of an organization. You know, like that's why you become part of a group, is so that you have the benefits of being in that group. It's not like you know, I don't want to, like, somebody doesn't want to come work here so that they can like just be floating free and not have any connections anywhere else. Like, you get our connections. You know, that's when we take you on. That's the way it is, and that's always how it's been.
I say it's like going to Yale, you know, for tattoos.
Sure.
You go to the best school.
You
go to the better, the better
Totally.
school. So when you're out in the world, you can say you're from that school.
Yeah, and then you reap the rewards of other people that have come from that institution.
And,
So yeah, Miami.
So Miami. So yeah, Morgan called me to go out there. And it was the first time I ever really traveled, because I started at Lucky's as my first place I ever tattooed, and then just worked there like 600 days a year.
600 days a year.
Basically.
Almost, man. That's fucking long ass shifts.
Yeah, back then, you know, there was no days off, no holidays. You were tattooing in the military, you know, on holidays, so there's no days off. So.
Where's that voice coming from?
Is that in there?
That's fine. That's just open the door a little bit. Hold on. Yo, you guys keep it down out there. Is there anybody out there?
Just a Loki mopping.
Oh, okay. No.
Hey, man, you're getting pretty loud with that mop. Easy.
Yeah, try to mop more quiet, please.
Mop quieter. More quietly.
No, I think it was one of my other guys that's not recognized his voice.
Hey, this door.
Well, it's fucking because nothing works here.
Nothing fits.
Nothing fits.
Square.
Nothing works here. New York City.
Old buildings.
Fuck, dude, everything's falling apart. It's like a house made out of sand. It's like the more you scrub it, the more just disappears. You know. So yeah, Miami.
So Miami, I get the call from Morgan to come out. Hey, you want a guest spot out here at this Miami thing? And it was the first major travel I made to tattoo somewhere else.
You're from the South somewhere, right? Like.
Well, I was born in Tennessee, but I mean, as a baby, my parents hitchhiked to California, so I spent all my life in California.
Hippie kid.
Yeah.
How's that? I mean, how's that as a child? Like, just the instability, and because I grew up, we kind of moved around a little. Like, we didn't move geographically so much, but nothing was ever constant. You know, like, my dad would show up with some fancy ass car, and then it would be gone, and then he'd have another different kind of car. You know, so it was like never really any kind of stability. Like, I remember he bought me a Mongoose BMX bike, and then it got stolen, and then he got another one for me, and he was like, I don't forget about that bike, man. I got you another bike. You know, like, it was like, who knows? But I was like, I'm sure it was a similar type of thing where you just like felt like, you know, like, you can't really plant your feet as a little kid.
It's a very interesting upbringing. You know, when you know, every family has an interesting something, whether they look normal and they're all fucked up, or they seem fucked up and they're actually loving and nice.
Yeah.
You know, and that was more mine.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, living on campsites, tents, vans, humble living. So
totally,
it was. It definitely taught me humility. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And
for sure.
And I don't think that's a bad trait. You know.
Well, no, that can only ever help you. You know, like, there's that fake humility, which is bullshit, where some guy will come in here and he'll like, hey, you know, I was wondering if you could like look at my work, and you're looking at it, and you're like, motherfucker, you know you're good. You know you're good. You want to just hear me say it, you know? Like, you look at it, and you're like, and he's got kind of a smirk on his face, and he's like, you know, I'm just really trying really hard. I'm like, motherfucker, I've been seeing people like you forever, dude. Get over yourself. Just get out there and fucking do it. Yeah, so Miami.
Okay, so I get out to Miami for my first time, and it was just like, you know, going to another planet, you know what I mean?
Fucking
from,
dude,
from California, most of my life, you know, little travels here and there, Chicago, but nothing major. Yeah. Going to Miami, which is like a third world country.
Yeah, I went there the first time for the Miami convention in the 90s, and then when I went back when the show was in full swing, it was a fucking totally different place. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I get there, and Morgan, I stay with Morgan. He invites me out. I stay with him and his lady, Jeanette, and her son.
Right.
And they're staying in a little studio apartment with a little AC in the window, like the apartments here in New York, but it's hot and sticky. And
so two big ass dudes, a lady, like not like a chick, like a lady, and a teenager.
Yeah, in a little dirty Miami studio. And man, it was so cozy, bro. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was just love. It brought me back to my hippie roots.
Well, that's
you know?
awesome.
Like
Yeah.
we were. It was air mattress next to his air mattress, and then her son would be around the corner, kind of by the kitchen.
Right.
And it was just like, just a time in our lives where it wasn't really the money. We weren't money driven. We were just like
Right.
going where life took us a little bit.
Right.
And
that's fun. Hotels and all that shit are nice. It's nice to have that be like, you could always do that, but sometimes it's fun. Like even, fucking, I'm in my 40s, and then you meet, you show up at one of your old friends' house, and like, you guys just like lay on the couch and watch movies, and make fuck with each other. And it's like, dude, this is like, I don't need to be staying at fucking fancy hotels all the time. Shit. But
I'm gonna come visit you for dinner, and then I'm gonna go home to my hotel. We're gonna
be by
ride
myself.
out So we, it was just a cozy time, man. Morgan and I would paint, and then we'd go to the shop at night, and there was a buzz because of the show, and filming all day, and then we'd go in at like 6 p.m. and work from 6 to midnight and just do little tattoos.
Yeah, they were doing it in shifts, right? Like because the shop was, they were filming.
And they closed it. And they just had the appointments that they've set up through the network and did the show. Mm-hmm. And we'd come at night at 6, and we'd stand out front while they were wrapping up, and it was just like this really cool energy, this new energy,
Totally.
And before I got out there, I was part of that train where it was like, fuck the TV shows, fuck that. And then here it is, close friends.
Well, it's easy to say that when you're an outsider of it, but when you can actually be a part of it and feel like you it is what you make it, then it's a totally different story.
Yeah. It's so it was a cool, exciting time. So we get in there, and it was a tiny shop, and more of a busy shop as the show started airing. And I was just going back and forth every month, and they were very welcoming on me. It was like, come back as much as you want. Mm-hmm. And I had always been like a street shop tattooer, walk-in guy. So that was all I knew. So everybody that comes in, we just handle it when they comes in. It wasn't like, let me do a consultation and take 3 weeks and I'll work on your drawing.
No, you had to bang stuff out.
You want a half sleeve and you want it tonight because you're traveling from fucking Texas or wherever. And that was the tattooing that we knew. And Morgan was, he was right along that same style, know, and he, such a fast, good tattooer, just like I like to get tattooed, fast and good,
Fast, good, fast, solid, and over as soon as possible.
So those people were coming in because of the show, not realizing they were really getting a nice piece of they were getting some real tattoos, people like Morgan and.
Well, and then because in the stints that I did there, I tattooed a few of your customers, and they were first they were bummed that you weren't there, but then I gave them a nice tattoo, so it was cool. But I could tell that you'd engendered like a tremendous amount of loyalty in them because they were so psyched and they loved the piece that you did on them so much. Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good feeling to have, especially when you leave somewhere. I'm always amazed when somebody has a big tattoo, and then you're like, oh, who did that? And he's like, I don't know.
Man.
I don't know.
That
and
bums
then,
me out.
Well, because it's like, man, it bums me out more about the person wearing it because I'm like, you spent a couple hours of your life in pain, and do you remember nothing from that experience?
It's like carrying around a painting all day for every year. And I don't know who the artist is, but I'm just holding this every day, every day.
Yeah, wouldn't that interest you to know something about that person? It's insane. Like, I don't know, like the guy, fucking spring break.
I mean, I've always believed in having nice conversations while I tattoo. It's part of my thing. It's tattoos and stories. You know what I mean? It's not just I'm not going to say anything to you. I'm just going to put this tattoo on you, and you're going to leave. I'm going to know you a little bit. You're sitting down here with me, and it bums me out when I ever ask people, and it happens a lot. Yeah, like you said. I mean, who did your tattoo? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I don't remember. And it just. I mean. That's part of it, I guess.
Hey, man, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You can't make people like something. You can't make people have interest in something that you are interested in.
But now we have the opposite, where people are so
obsessed with name brand. Yeah, and that's where that's the TV thing. Also, that's connected to that. People they want to say that they want the name recognition.
I feel like you would have a good opinion on this. Like I was just kind of talking with someone the other day about fame and how fame in itself has changed. Like just the idea of people being famous because someone's famous, or because someone's famous,
or they've done something,
but not because they actually are good at something, or a great actor.
No, it's just they're famous just for fame.
Yeah,
like there's nothing to back up their like the amount of attention they get. And
it builds on itself because of the mentality of people. So it's like the Kardashians. They've built fame on...
they're the number one example of that, I think. It happens, it started off with like fucking, MTV, the real world shows and stuff like that, and those people being recognized. And then somehow, like, they're looking at that being on that show as a career move,
right?
Which is fucking that's ridiculous. But yeah, people being famous for nothing. A lot of that's the thing. All those new tattoo shows, the kids go on there, the guys go on there, like they're just like, I just need to get as popular as possible in a short amount of time. I don't even care if I lose. I don't care how shitty this makes me look. Because the fact that I'm on TV is going to trump everything.
Which it does, too. Because
it trumps everything. If the guy has a reputation of being a fucking shitheel, like person we know, the guy's reputation of being just a loudmouth shitheel, he'll attract a fucking following of loudmouth shitheels as his customers, and he'll be their dude, or if the guy, some... Yeah, it's really insane, but that's entertainment and that's television. I'm lucky that during the whole Miami Ink thing was going down, you guys were lucky because the B team, you guys, you got to reap the benefits of all that and then not have to be fucking, nobody on the street, people wouldn't yell at you.
Yeah.
and you guys were just like, no, it's cool. You guys were just like, we're just a bunch of hardworking dudes that found a very nice situation, and that's it, Yeah.
And I always say there's that level of fame that's just irritating where you don't really have the money and you don't really have nice shit, but you have people that know you are all over your shit.
Totally, and that's the funny thing about that. Like, those people, they are pressured also to go to all these fucking expensive nightclubs and all this kind of nonsense. Like, they never, and that whole world is just all on credit. Yep. The whole nightlife world is all on fucking credit. Like, I know dudes that were fucking the #1 club promoter and blah, 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 and then they're fucking homeless. The minute it's so fickle and it's so based on not tangible things, it's like, you just in one night, that shit's all over. And that's they treat their money like that. That's why they all end up fucking broke. It's because they treat their money like that. They know, like, ill-gotten gains. Any easy come, easy go.
Yeah.
Anybody that makes money hand over fist like that, and they know themselves they did nothing to really earn it, that money was never theirs.
Yeah.
It's gone immediately.
The reputation was built on sand. It wasn't built on rock.
Exactly. And so that's why people like that live like that.
Yeah.
So, so you guys had a lot of fun in Miami in the early days.
It was like tattoo boot camp, though. I mean, we were
totally.
There was piles of people, and we were drawing all the stuff on the spot in front of them, which was like hard as shit. Because I can draw, but I'm not a garver. You know what I mean? Who's like a fucking crazy
maestro. And like having to. People watching you, and like that's another thing.
Peering in the back of your head. Like
it's easier. It's easier for me if I'm just like, all right, turn around.
Yeah.
All right, now look. What do you think? All right, now turn around again. Now look.
Yeah.
Instead of like every stroke, they're like. Well, you let people. I still like to draw stuff right before the tattoo because, man, if I get a week, if I draw it a week ahead, I want to draw it totally different.
Yeah.
So it's almost like this wasted,
right?
Whereas like if you draw it on the spot, it's almost like if you draw it on the spot, you're like having a child. Like you can't change the way your child looks.
Yeah.
But it's your child, so so you take care of it and you make it as cool as possible. But like this is what we're working with today.
Yeah, as like an evolving artist that pays attention. I mean, you're always looking to change it. So you have to get that moment.
This is what we're looking. It's like a command performance, like Zen. It's like this is what we're doing right now. We're in this.
Tomorrow, the same thing could be totally different.
Totally
not bad, but just totally different.
No. And as long it's not. Yeah, if I draw something, well, and conversely, like if you have one of those relationships with a client where you're like emailing them pictures of your progress drawings, dude, good luck, because they're gonna fucking change that shit. They're gonna the very last time when you say, okay, this is our last version, this is the last one, that's the one they're gonna choose.
They change it for the sake of changing it, not because
because it's a game to them and they love the attention. So
I turned down a lady the other day. I haven't done it too often, but it was such a nice feeling. I must have went back and forth about 4 times. And I usually
like being like, hey, I'm not your guy.
I usually do one or two changes, but after that, you're pulling it way too far away from because I mean, we draw stuff so often for so many years that you do stuff you don't even know why you do stuff.
Right.
You do it at an automatic composition, and so if they start pulling that apart, it messes with it. And this lady, I told her, I was like, look, I'm not your guy.
Yeah.
I'm not your guy. And she just stood there like,
she's like, but what? I want you.
But you, what do you mean?
But I want you.
And I was like, yeah, maybe one of the other guys, or I can recommend some other good places. I'll send her over here to give you guys some shit.
Thanks. And whatever. But that's all. Then she could possibly run into somebody, and then that guy reads her, or she reads him immediately. And the tattoo he could do on her could have everything that she complained about your tattoo in it, but for some reason the context was different and she felt differently about it, and it's like that weird kind of push and pull that it's hard to get your hands on to learn how it works. But I've seen it happen tons of times. I've seen people get tattooed by somebody initially wanted to be tattooed by me. The person that they got tattooed by did like what I was going to do.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I think maybe just my gruffness or my like command or something, like I was like, no, this ain't gonna work. Instead of saying like, okay, that'll work, and then doing the opposite, which I've done tons of times. I tell people, oh yeah, I listen to them, and they're like, man, it's so awesome. And then I don't want to tell them like, yeah, I did the opposite of what you asked me.
Yeah.
But that's if I would have explained everything to you, you would have taken it as some sort of like a challenge. And like some sort, like so this like we get locked in this mind war, like whose will is gonna win, A lot of times customers do that kind of shit. It's weird, really weird.
One other thing on that whole idea, I was talking with Tim Hendricks about this one time. He knew a guy that did this, and him and I tried it. You put a design on someone's back, and then they go look at it in the mirror, and then they go, "Can you move it up or down a little bit?" They'll come, and you're like, yeah, sure. So instead of actually moving it, just wiping the back a little bit,
right,
and kind of acting like you do it again, and then sending them back and not moving it, and them going, that's great, that's perfect,
right,
and that's a perfect example.
That's
of just,
yeah, totally, because if the tattoo when I started getting tattooed early, all the ones that I overly dictated are the ones that I don't like. The ones where I let the person do their thing. Because you put in the work by picking the right guy for you, and not overly dictating the design yourself. So then, when did you decide that you moved back to San Diego after the Miami trips? Yeah.
Yeah, it was back and forth to Miami like throughout the year, like 2 years, and then I ended up moving to Miami with my then girlfriend.
Okay.
And she didn't end up loving Miami.
Right.
And I don't blame her, but I loved it because I was able to provide and save money, and actually for the first time in my life have a couple extra nice, have some nice shit.
Yeah.
So we moved back, and I had the shop still.
And Miami's cheap too. It's like you can live have a very high standard of living there. It's very nice.
We lived good, and I had 3 days off a week. That was amazing. I mean, I never was off. I was always painting and working, but 3 days off from the craziness.
But that was a pressure cooker, 11 to 11.
Yeah, it was heavy, and it was just a pile of people piling in that little shop.
And every morning, that might give you like a false sense of security also, like because like you go to work every day, there's a line of people in front of your shop. You're like, it's gonna be like this forever.
Yeah.
Like this is never gonna end.
Well, luckily I always had my San Diego shop thing going that could kind of ground me every time.
Totally.
So I could kind of go, okay, this is how normal tattooing is. This is the normal situation. This is $60 minimum. This is a normal thing. So
you need to keep your head in that world. For sure.
So I moved back to San Diego eventually, and ended up splitting up with my longtime girl.
Okay.
And then just took that as a liberty to travel the world. I finally started traveling. I started working everywhere I could go. I mean, we went to Amsterdam.
Yeah, that was awesome. Great trip.
First time there with you.
We ended up bunking one night.
Yeah,
we won't talk about that.
Man. So, yeah, man, I just started, I started traveling as much as I could. And I was catching on lately. I feel like all my peers and all the tattooers that were a little before me, they all did that. They went and paid their respects and went to Hanky Panky's and went to, all these great places and almost just paid that tattoo due, Get tattooed by them or tattoo with them or at their shop.
Totally.
And, so I did as much of that as I could for like the last 5 years. And then came to New York for the first time. Mm-hmm. I was traveling around, and Ami said, hey, I'm doing this New York Ink thing. Mm-hmm. You want to be a part of this? And I was like, yeah, man, sure. It was a good time in my life. I just split up with the lady I was with forever, and I was traveling, and I was like, yeah, I never even thought about living in New York. And then that moment, just moving here, and there's a whole nother 5 hours of stories of getting apartments and staying on your
All
couch
that,
and
all that bullshit.
full days of drinking and just great adventures, getting settled here. And now here I am 3 years later.
So what do you? So the shop at Wooster is it's who are the full-time guys there?
Full-time guys there are Guy. We call him Nice Guy.
Nice guy, Israeli guy.
Israeli guy, and he's a great tattooer. He kind
He's
of
killer.
does
He's
that
awesome.
Thomas Hooper-y stuff.
The kind of
pointillism.
dotty pointillism, yeah.
And just very meticulous and a very strict, direct, calm guy.
Gotcha.
And I like his style. He's a good guy. And then there's Rodrigo from Miami. He kind of came up.
Rodrigo, Hot Rod from Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Came up with all the guys in Miami indirectly. He was like a younger guy, and he got a gig there.
And Lee
from Miami.
Gotcha.
Eddie just left.
For North Carolina, South Carolina.
Army opened that new shop in North Carolina, Asheville.
Okay.
And Eddie left with his family. We've had a lot of guest artists lately. We've had a lot of great guest artists. We got Kaname from Japan. We got Ross Nagel comes through and bounces.
Kaname's a regular. He's been here a couple times, right?
Yeah.
I know him from San Francisco, from old school.
Kaname's awesome.
He's rad.
He comes whenever he wants. I mean, he has that open invitation with
He
him.
tattooed me in Detroit, so long ago, and it was the most amazing situation because it's nothing like I wanted, and he basically was just like, I just mentioned I wanted to get something tattooed from him, and he goes, all right, and then he comes up to me in my booth going, I'm tattooing you now, and I'm like, all right, cool. And then he tattooed me, and it was fucking painful as fuck on my wrist. And I'm like, man, I was like, that was interesting. I felt like somebody grabbed me, shook me, spun me around a couple times, and just sat me down.
There you go.
But he comes up with that stern Japanese, now we're tattooing you. So I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah, he's great, man.
He's great.
And Damian Ross, who works with you guys, he comes in and shares some of his time with us, and he's an amazing tattooer.
Awesome. So what's the plans for the future? What's on your agenda for these new projects that you're working on and stuff?
For me personally, my projects I'm spread thin, man. Aside from just tattooing 8 hours a day, I go home and I'm working on some deals with some different clothing companies, working on collaborations with friends and just starting to keep my art stuff up, doing stuff with my friend Travis Barker for his company, Famous, and what else do I got going on? I got my Lost Art of the Gentleman thing. I do a lot of that gentlemanly stuff, which I like.
The gentlemanly behavior.
Yeah, so I'm working on a book.
Everybody likes a gentleman.
Yeah, I'm working on a book for that.
There's nothing wrong with being a nice guy.
Somebody's got to do it. We can't all be savages. So, it's the variety is the spice of life, So
yeah,
I just look like a savage.
Totally. Well, I think that's the move, right? You gotta, guys, if you have problems with women out there, fellas, you gotta look like a fucking animal and then be a nice guy.
Yeah.
And then that's the rule. You gotta look like a murderer, but then like puppies and rainbows and stuff like that, and art. Talk about art, but look like a savage.
Yeah.
All right. So the future.
Yeah, so the future, and then I'm working on putting together a little. I don't want to. I want to call it just a private studio in California.
Okay. That's interesting.
Just something very, very private, almost like that New York vibe that I think is so cool here, coming from California, like the speakeasy vibe of these little cool little bars and
would you be willing to collaborate with another kind of business, to have be an adjunct to that, or do you want it to be 100% your own thing?
This particular thing is a temporary deal because I'm planning on doing something with a really well-known love tattooer. Him and I are planning on doing something in the near future.
Okay.
This is in California, but this is just a nice temporary spot that's turned into a little home base for me when I go to California and back. And it's friends of friends, friends only. And it's not like that I'm too cool to fucking make it public. It's just that it's super private.
Keep it low key.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Keep it cool.
Tattooing is, you're talking to Mr. Invisible right here.
Yeah.
Being low key is the way to be, because then you're dealing with the world on your terms.
Yeah.
And you're not you're not being. I enjoy going and working at street shops and stuff, but I love being inaccessible physically to people, because a lot of times, man, if you open them doors, man, you'll never get any privacy.
Yeah.
And people won't really respect people won't respect your space. You have to enforce that. You have to constantly be vigilant to be like, no, man, this is as close as we get. this is the nature of our relationship.
Well, it's like you said, man. Your terms.
It's got to be on your
enough years.
It's got to be on everybody. It's got to be on your terms, or else you're gonna run yourself ragged trying to please everybody and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when this is coming up, when is this planned?
That's going on now.
It's happening presently.
One of my best friends has helped me kind of put in hardwood floors, and it's just this private little room. I'm never going to make public where it is.
Cool. But that becomes part of the fun.
Yeah.
It's like those people getting the sneaker with the bird on it or the pigeon, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, dude, you gotta find it. This fucking.
Just so that I could do it on my terms when I go home to California.
For sure.
For sure. So and then I do my little stuff. I do my like self-made kind of gear, and I just make some kind of fun shirts that I like, and people that get tattooed.
Just keep it moving. I like that your stuff never. It's not like I don't understand like the tattoo design on the clothing stuff. I don't understand. Like I always like the tattoos on my body, and then like if I'm gonna wear a logo, it's not gonna be like look like something like that I would wear as a tattoo.
Well, and especially Ed Hardy killed that.
Because he made it look super fucking tacky and just completely gross.
Let me rephrase that. Ed didn't kill that.
The company. Yeah. The company did.
Ed's a G. He can do whatever he wants. He can do no wrong.
Well, he can do whatever he wants, including just selling a stack of drawings to somebody for this fucking incredible amount of money. You know what I mean? Fuck it.
Yeah,
he deserves it. He worked his ass off.
But our lives as tattooers are so diverse, our clients and our travels and everything. So just to do like only tattoo designs on T-shirts just seems so boring.
Well, that's how I feel just in art in general. Like so many tattooers, you see, it seems like all they do is tattoo-related art. And even if it's oil painting, even if it's whatever, like I like to break out and I like to just do shit that I wouldn't. It's like I grew up drawing for fun and for relaxation, and now for fun and relaxation, I have to do something that's not what I do for work. It has to be something that's totally different, whether that being recording a radio show or, working on my motorcycles or doing something like that. Something creative that is stimulating but doesn't remind me of work, or my job.
It's nice to have like a creative outlet.
And then when you're back, and then when you are in the chair, you attack your work with a renewed vigor. Like you're like, all right, I know how to do this. I'm good at this.
Well, when I started tattooing, I was painting just like I tattooed because I thought it was helping me tattoo.
That's like you're putting yourself through your steps and you're learning that. I still, that's practice.
Yeah, it's like working out.
Yeah, totally.
But let's talk about the one time I tattooed you.
Okay.
Because I was thinking I never got tattooed by you yet.
Well, I'm here. You know where to find me.
And
yeah, man, it was awesome. I got the GP from you guys, the homies.
Yeah, I feel like people ask it. There's like a little buzz about GP, and it'd be nice to kind of tell people what it really is.
To me, this is like it represented the relationship I got. The relationship I made with you and Morgan and the dudes. And, we were such good friends at that time. The minute you offered, I was like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, it was, it was, it's something that we hold really dear. To me, it's like, like the CS is it's a very popular tattoo now, but it's still a really cool tattoo.
It'll always still hold its weight.
Yeah, because
thing.
There's a strong foundation in street and tattoo culture that, all these assholes can't dumb it down,
Yeah.
But I only tattoo the CS once or twice a year. I kind of have my little thing. I just think if you make people respect it, they'll respect it a little bit more. If you just give it to everybody that asks, then it becomes just a common thing.
Sure. I've had I don't feel, that people are like, hey, can you bang this out on me real quick? I was like, I'm not really your guy for that. Even though I am, from California and from that culture somewhat. It's like, there's other people that's their thing, and you should maybe ask them.
At the same time, you could.
I could.
But if you being respectful of the idea of it, you
totally
had the wherewithal to kind of be like, go get it from somebody. Because when I tattooed on somebody, I give them a whole spiel.
Right.
I got like a 40-minute thing about my journey of figuring out what it was, asking the OGs, finding out their opinions, and it just being a slang word. There was no direct definition.
Well, that was one of the cool things. All really cool cultures, like, punk rock, fucking lowrider culture, biker culture. the mysticism of like
Yeah.
their little anagrams and all this kind of stuff. It's like this crazy. They all have their like mystic language, which I always thought was so fucking cool.
And how much cooler when you couldn't Google it and you had
Yeah,
to
well,
actually
yeah,
fucking
yeah. You really
search it out.
you had to trust like an older dude in your crew to the school. You'd see like something, you know, like as you're like a crusty punk or something, or like a young punk rocker kid. You see like some sort of cool design on some guy's pants, and you're like, what does that mean? He's like, oh, you don't know? He's like, get out of here.
Yeah, man.
You know, or definitely the cholos would have those badass fucking on the underside of the caps and like cool ass embroidered fucking like initials, and I was like, what is that? That is fucking so cool. That shit looks so badass. Well, cool, man. Well, you know, I look forward to being, you know, you and I are going to be homies for a very long time. So what do you see in the future of tattooing in general? Do you see, I'm of the opinion that tattooers, like, that for us to survive and for us to really be able to maintain what we have, you know, we have to just fully embrace the entrepreneurial spirit and just, like, be able to have a lot of different income streams and a lot of different projects and ideas going at one time, you know, to maintain, to stay relevant, you know what I mean, to keep doing things and to be able to keep, you know, fucking pushing forward and being able to keeping tattooing fun, so we don't turn into these, you know, people that are just forced to tattoo, you know what I mean, just to stay alive.
Yeah, the idea of where tattooing is going, man, it's really tough, and I definitely think it's important for the people that are important in tattooing to embrace, you know, social media.
Sure.
Because that's pop culture. That's where the kids are looking to. And instead of just being a grumpy dude talking shit with your buddies in the back of a shop, you need to be out there schooling, you know, and joining forces with the other guys that are just...
And yeah,
because that's the platform.
Putting on, you know, like finding other real people like yourself, and then putting on other real tattooers.
Yeah. Yeah, like looking out for each other. Because, I mean, there's a whole new generation of tattooing that I know nothing about anymore. It's like it looks like Hot Topic.
There's a whole new generation. Shit. Like, it's fucking crazy. All right, so I went out to dinner the other night, and these three girls were part of the guy that was in the group with us the other night, and they didn't know. They were fully fucking, and these are young girls, and they're fucking tattoos on their face and their necks, and they didn't know any tattooers, like, from I'm not going to mention the city they're from, but they're from a city where I know a couple people that ran that city and are responsible for pretty much all the tattoo culture in that city. They had no idea who these fucking guys were. And these aren't old guys. These are guys in their 30s. You know what I mean? So they were so disconnected, and yet they were completely covered in tattoos, and it's like how do you... How is it possible to not know about the you know, the foundation of this culture and where you're from? And I'm like, oh, it's easy because the internet.
Yeah.
You know, because you think, you know, you're cued into like these certain group of fucking emo neo-traditionalist people, and then they're the end all, and people learned how to tattoo just by looking at them on the internet.
Yeah.
So you know that's how, because you're exposed to everything around the world, but then you're still insulated because you only see what's in that really narrow vision.
I do think that people will always get tattooed, you know?
For sure.
I think we're in a culture of people wanting original shit, and finding artists to give them their original tattoo that no one else can get is a big part of culture, and there's such a big population, and there'll always be...
And there's nobody else they could get it from besides that person that they click with, and they realize that that's the dude.
Yeah. So there's good and bad, you know? But I think throughout the generations of tattooers, they've always said there's too many, too many shops, and it's just grown... You know, it's grown to a different level because there's such a huge population now. But, you know, we're still doing our thing, and I think that the strong will survive.
Well, I mean, yeah, if there's anything I know is that you know, I will be good no matter what.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care. Like, you know, like as much as I complain, it's like you know, man, me and the people that I draw close to me are survivors. You know, so no matter what happens, you know, like I'm always I like to think that I always have my eye on, you know, like what's happening. And